I am proud sponsor of H.R. 5641, the Speed Recovery Act, which is a bipartisan bill, and it does cut the red tape that helps expedite disaster recovery efforts, particularly in small towns and rural areas. This legislation updates what FEMA considers a small project to $1 million under the Stafford Act. This is the first adjustment in inflation and rising repair costs in nearly 3 decades. Historically, small projects have accounted for about 95% of all recovery projects, but the prolonged failure to increase the cost threshold has placed nearly 25% of projects outside of that threshold. This has added unnecessary burdens for both our communities trying to rebuild after a disaster. And increasing the small project threshold is going to allow communities to have more control over their disaster recovery efforts and allows FEMA to focus more of their time and resources on much larger scale disasters. After hearing directly from communities in my district about the paperwork burdens and the increasing denials over technicalities, it's my hope that this bill will improve the process by making this common sense adjustment to the small project threshold. I'd urge my colleagues to support the bill, and with that, I'll yield back the balance of my time. I'm pleased to co-sponsor this legislation along with Chairman DeFazio, Subcommittee Chair Titus, and Subcommittee Ranking Member Webster. The Resilient America Act strengthens our support for communities and individuals by mitigating against disaster. And we know that for every dollar invested upfront in mitigation, there are $4 to $11 saved from damages or saved in damages from a disaster. And given that, the way we lower costs of future disasters, in my opinion, is by investing upfront in mitigation. This bill builds on the bipartisan work that we did on mitigation in the Disaster Recovery Act of 2018, and ensures that mitigation funds are spent and targeted in ways to support efforts by communities and homeowners to save lives and reduce damages. I want to thank Chairman DeFazio and Subcommittee Chair Titus for working together, for working with us together on this bill. And this committee has continued to make resiliency a bipartisan priority, and for good reason. You know, all of our districts suffer from the impacts of severe natural disasters, and my district is no different. My constituents regularly experience flooding that not only causes damage to homes and businesses, but it just simply disrupts lives and displaces people. So I'm glad to see that more is going to be done to make common sense investments on the front end through these mitigation projects. I've been saying this repeatedly, but the path to success for this committee is through bipartisanship and not partisanship. And this bill is a very strong example of both sides finding common ground for the benefit of all Americans. So with that, I would urge support of the bill, and I would yield back the balance of my time.